Get dude. I won't do it off my case. It's conflict of interest between me and the no, man. I wanna file a verbal motion.
Did you say? Did you say that?
And did you intend to kill him?
Oh yeah.
And did you think about whether or not you wanted to kill him and make a deliberate choice to do so?
No way. Put half a magazine in that.
Listen to me. You don't let me out of here, I'm gonna fucking kill you. I'm gonna do it. I wanna take your fucking life if you don't let me out of here. Okay? I'm done.
This is Tyler Harding, who was arrested after taking police on a high-speed car chase in North Carolina. According to reports, 26-year-old Harding allegedly broke into a home in Charlotte and stole a Jeep. After police tracked the Jeep's GPS signal, Harding ditched it and fled in a pickup truck. As police chased him, Harding blew a tire and stole another car. His third of the day, Harding zoomed recklessly across the highway, driving over dividers and such. Was 7 months pregnant at the time. Then ran off and stole another car. The high-speed chase continued until he crashed again while trying to speed through an intersection. This time, Harding surrendered. Miraculously, no one was seriously injured in the incident. After his arrest, Harding appeared in court via video conference, where the prosecution attempted to increase his bond, arguing that the defendant was a clear danger to the community.
You're driving on the wrong side of the road at excessive speeds, weaving in and out of traffic. He's just demonstrated he doesn't care for anybody's safety in this community.
Considering Harding was a wanted criminal in another state, Judge Donald Courtroom announced his verdict.
His history has a lot regarding theft, as well as fleeing or trying to evade arrest. Obviously, the allegations in this case are no different. If anything, they are aggravated. So as a result, I am going to honor the request from the state in terms of raising the amount of the bond.
This is when things got crazy. Clearly upset with the judge's decision, Harding dropped the F-bomb and asked to leave. Judge Courtroom, however, put Harding in his place.
I'll let him finish.
Hold on. One thing you're not going to do is give me permission to do anything. I already have that, so I don't need your permission. So you can go. You can go ahead and leave. You can go ahead and leave. You already upset. Go ahead and leave. Go ahead and leave.
It's important for me to do this.
Well, it didn't seem that important just a few seconds ago when you said F this and you wanted to leave.
Because you're listening to what this gentleman said to you, and it's not my place to tell you what happened yet, because I haven't spoken to my attorney yet. But that's actually a crime to lie.
Harding's bond was eventually set at a whopping $800,000. Ultimately, Harding pleaded guilty to multiple felony and theft charges and was sentenced to 2 consecutive prison sentences of 10 to 21 months. While Tyler Harding showed no regret for cursing at a judge, what happens when a convict spits at his lawyer?
Okay, Mr. Roberts.
I am Judge.
Like in the case of 19-year-old Keontae Hunter, who's accused of murder in Louisville, Kentucky. In 2012, Hunter allegedly broke into the home of 21-year-old Jesse Williams and shot him and his girlfriend while they were asleep. Williams died on the spot while his girlfriend survived. Hunter was arrested and charged with murder, attempted murder, and tampering with physical evidence. At his pretrial hearing, the defense attempted to suppress a statement Hunter gave to police after the shooting.
Keontae was a juvenile at the time. Case law does support, and just our own common sense knows that juveniles have a lowered understanding, a lower intelligence when it comes to legal rights and things of that nature. I would argue that given his situation as a juvenile, that the Commonwealth has not met their burden showing that that was an intelligent and voluntary waiver.
But Hunter had other ideas.
Mr. Hunter, hold on.
At first, he disagreed with his public defender.
I won't do it off my
Sit
case.
down.
It's conflict of interest between me and the no, man. I wanna.
Then, as he was about to be thrown out of court, Hunter exploded.
I wanna file a verbal motion.
In a fit of rage, Hunter spat on his own lawyer and swung his handcuffed arms at him. Before being taken down by deputies. But the defiant defendant was not done.
Spit in your face.
Eventually, a new public defender was assigned, but Hunter was ultimately convicted on all charges and sentenced to 25 years in prison. While Keontae Hunter proved to be a biological hazard in court, what happens when an offender threatens to kill the judge?
Listen to me. You don't let me out of here, I'm gonna fuck you. I'm a Jew. I want a life if you don't let me out of here. Okay? I'm done.
Like in the case of Juan Rodriguez, who's accused of stabbing a woman in Miami, Florida. In 2010, Rodriguez allegedly stabbed nurse Nadine Morris at a mental health facility he was residing in after accusing her of theft. Now in bond court on an attempted murder charge, Rodriguez was off to an explosive start.
You can't be Simon when I talk to her. You
Oh,
gotta
we're
get
doing
out.
out of turn. Sorry about that. Didn't give you a heads up.
1 second. He cannot be there when I talk to you.
What is it?
This guy cannot be there when I talk to you.
Oh, it was him. I thought it was the public defender.
As the judge ignored his request, Rodriguez became irate.
Defender.
No, I don't need him. Listen to me. You don't let me out of here, I'm gonna kill you. I'm a Jew. I'm gonna take life if you don't let me out of here. Okay? I'm done.
So
Now let's eat breakfast. The driver's cooking.
Juan Rodriguez.
After dropping a bombshell, Rodriguez attempted to walk away.
You can't be Simon when I talk to her. You
Oh,
gotta
we're
get
doing
out.
out of turn. Sorry about that. Didn't give you a heads up.
When brought back, the defendant once again demanded to be released from prison and continued threatening to kill Judge Beatrice Buchko.
Charged with attempted murder, first degree. I'm going to go ahead and appoint the public defender, seeing as that he doesn't appear to be in a condition to respond
What do you want?
appropriately.
What's your pleasure? What do you want from me? Where is Sabina? Where the fuck is she?
Finding probable.
What's her phone number?
Okay.
If you don't let me out of here, I'm gonna
Setting
Cool as a cucumber, the judge seemed least interested and eventually denied him bond.
setting no bond. Okay. Thank you, corrections. Probable cause, no bond. Appointment defender.
While Juan Rodriguez got no reaction from a judge after threatening to kill her, what happens when a convict scares his victim into tears? On February 20th, 2016, authorities received several 911 calls about a rogue Uber driver in Kalamazoo, Michigan.
I'd like to report a crazy driver. I just got an Uber to my friend's house. On the way there, he was driving neurotic down West Main. He hit a car. He drove through the woods, and I finally just jumped out.
I just got passed by a silver Traverse going southbound on Douglas, probably every bit of 100 miles an hour.
There was a man going roughly 70, 80 miles an hour, weaving in and out of both lanes of traffic.
This silver SUV just slammed on its brakes outside my house.
Okay.
And threw out a guy.
The driver was later identified as 45-year-old Jason Dalton, who would later go on a deadly spree that night. While picking up a passenger, Dalton shot 25-year-old Tiana Carruthers several times in the parking lot of an apartment complex.
Okay, so female's down. She's been shot.
Don't move.
Okay, where's the person that shot her? I don't know. The car sped off.
Dalton then sped off and changed cars from a silver SUV to a black Chevy before pulling over in the parking lot of a Kia dealership and fatally shooting 53-year-old Richard Smith and his 17-year-old son Tyler.
Hi, we just drove by the Kia, and a guy just shot some people in the parking lot. There were two guys laying on the ground and one guy pointing a gun at them.
10 minutes later, authorities received another 911 call.
Kempsey County 911.
I'm at the Kalamazoo Cracker Barrel, and there's been gunshots in a car.
There's gunshots in a car?
Yes.
When police arrived, they found 4 people shot dead outside a Cracker Barrel restaurant. A 5th victim, 14-year-old Abigail Kopf, survived with horrific injuries. In total, 6 people died and 2 were gravely wounded in what police called an act of random shooting. In between the shootings, Dalton picked up and dropped several passengers who didn't suspect a thing. One even jokingly asked if he was the shooter. Dalton was arrested later that night after a cop identified his car.
Driver, take your hands off the window!
He surrendered without resistance.
Hey, Jason.
Hi.
How you doing, man?
Good. How are you?
You alright today?
Yeah. Not really, though.
What's going on?
I know you wanted an explanation. You can get one.
Because you're not this guy.
No. If you guys only knew, it would blow your mind. Okay.
During his interrogation, Dalton blamed the Uber app, claiming its logo resembled the devil who took over his body and made him shoot 8 people.
The symbol that's on an Uber. Could you bring my phone up to me so I can see it?
I have the Uber thing on here.
Can I see it, please? On Uber, when I clicked it, it went chink, and then there was like a double head that popped up, and I pressed that button, and that's where all the problems went after that. I've experienced the full body takeover. It literally has control of you. I would have never done any of these atrocities that have happened.
Right. What made you get your firearms name? The app, the Uber?
Yeah.
Is that what made you put the vest on too?
Yeah.
Do you remember shooting people?
There's like little spots where it pops in and pops out.
At trial, Tiana Carruthers, who suffered severe mental and physical trauma, took the stand.
I seen him coming, and I saw a gun.
Interrogator cars. No, big 8 bags. These old people, they have these old black bags. They're called they're black. They're black bags. And people drive around and look at them. It gets real like, hey, it's time people look. And then that's when to tell people it's time to get to Temple.
Joe, you need to listen to your attorney, right?
Yeah, you need to get to Temple because you need to get going because it's called intimidator bags.
You can be quiet in today's proceedings, okay?
Yeah.
If you have anything to say, you whisper to your attorney. That's today's rules, okay?
The judge intervened as the witness broke into tears.
So, Ms. Carruthers, are you okay? Or do we need to take a minute?
When the prosecutor asked Carruthers if she needed a minute, Dalton lunged at the victim.
Take it.
The judge asked for a recess and Dalton was dragged out of the courtroom. Eventually, Dalton pleaded guilty to multiple counts of murder, assault, and felony firearm. Finally, it was time for the Uber killer to learn his fate.
You, Jason Brian Dalton, be remanded to the custody of the Michigan Department of Corrections for assessment and sentencing for a period of life without the possibility of parole as mandated by statute. This is to be served consecutive to any sentence imposed.
Dalton was ultimately sentenced to life in prison with no hope of parole for his deadly shooting spree. While Jason Dalton mercilessly harassed his victim, what happens when an offender lits up a joint in court? Like in the case of Spencer Allen Boston, who's at the Wilson County Courthouse in Tennessee on a drug charge. Police said during a traffic stop, 20-year-old Boston received a citation for simple possession of marijuana.
Your Honor, I spoke with Mr. Boston. He said he wants to represent himself in this case. I told him today was just an arraignment. It's either guilty, not guilty by day. To which he responded, I just want to plead my case to the court. And so he didn't want to talk to me after that, so that's why he was...
Now in court, Boston was representing himself and wanted to plead his case.
I think it's very unfair, the marijuana law here. I think we the people deserve better because marijuana is a very harmless drug, and it's been around for ages, since the 80s and 90s.
Turns out, Boston wanted to argue about marijuana law, but the judge was having none of it.
I've heard that baloney all my life, so don't go any further on that.
Yes, sir.
I don't know whether it's good or bad. All I know is Tennessee still has it against the law. I swore to uphold the laws, and I have to uphold the laws as a judge. It probably is unfair, but I can't change it. You've got to go see the legislature.
The judge then shifted focus to the case at hand.
If you want a trial, we can give you a trial on the officer's date, which it's Officer Vincent.
Officer Vincent?
As the judge became busy scheduling a trial date, Boston decided to take matters into his own hands.
May 7th. Yes, call him. I can't give you the name of the man you really need to call. But there's somebody...
Hey! We the people deserve better.
Take him to jail. Take him to jail.
Incredibly, the defendant whipped out a joint and lit it up in front of the judge. As a court bailiff restrained him, Boston held the burning contraband up to the gallery with one message.
There's somebody...
Hey! We the people deserve better.
Take him to jail. Take him to jail.
For his efforts, Boston was sent to 10 days in jail for contempt of court and an additional possession charge. While Spencer Allen Boston pleaded his case with a live demonstration, what happens when a convict flips off everyone in the courtroom?
You. Okay. Well.
Like in the case of Keith Ferguson, who's accused of double murder in Kalkaska, Michigan. In November 2014, 40-year-old Ferguson allegedly shot and killed his estranged wife, Tiffany, at her home in Cold Springs Township in front of their 4 children. Ferguson then took the children to his father-in-law's home and fatally shot 63-year-old James Weber. The children managed to escape while Ferguson took a hostage and barricaded himself in a house before police arrived and arrested him. Police believe the reason behind the murders was a divorce case which was filed by Tiffany. At his arraignment, Ferguson had nothing but disdain and defiance for the courtroom. He even lashed out at the judge.
All right, Mr. Ferguson, can I get you to stand up there at the podium, please? All right, I need to have you raise your right hand for me. Okay, all right. We'll be back.
Okay, stop.
As for Ferguson's bond, the prosecution argued for the highest amount possible.
And his state hostages, based on that information, there's no doubt in my mind that this particular defendant has a high risk of non-appearance or danger to the public.
The judge concurred.
We have issues of flight, home invasion, kidnapping. The defendant is facing life offenses. I think that high bond is warranted under the circumstances to assure the defendant's appearance in court. I'm gonna set it as a $10 million bond.
After deciding to plead guilty, Ferguson repeatedly snapped and refused to comply at his plea hearing.
Well, I'm not getting into any detail of what happened.
If you want to be guilty, you have to say what you did.
I'm not saying all right? Because of the respect and the safety of my children, I'm not saying nothing. Because they're gonna see this. They don't need to hear that. Understand what I'm saying? You know, let's just make this painless and not. Give me my 100 years or whatever, and give me the out of here.
That's what I'm trying to do.
Okay, well do it. Understand me? I'm not doing this in front of these stupid cameras and these inbreds.
The judge called for a break, but Ferguson was still fuming.
Don't touch me.
Eventually, Ferguson calmed down and pleaded guilty to first and second degree murder.
And did you intend them?
Oh yeah.
And did you think about whether or not you wanted to deliver a choice to do so?
No, I didn't. Put half a magazine in that.
He even requested the death penalty.
You can't give me the death penalty? I'll see y'all in hell.
During sentencing, Tiffany's friend gave an emotional and powerful victim impact statement.
Murdered their mother and grandfather. Why? You could have just taken your own life and saved these poor kids, their grandmother, friends, and community a horrific pain. Do you have any idea of the emotional pain your kids have suffered and will continue to suffer their entire lives? Your Honor, on behalf of the kids, myself, and all of Chip's friends and family, please send Keith to prison for life without any chance for parole. Thank you.
Ferguson was also given a chance to speak, but he showed no remorse.
Just sent me, killing, whatever.
Before handing over his fate, Judge George Mertz had a few words for the defendant.
There's something fundamentally wrong with you. You're incapable of understanding that intentionally depriving an elderly woman of her husband, her mate, her life, 4 children, her mother, to satisfy your own selfish urges. Justice is something that deserves the most important and serious punishment.
Ultimately, Ferguson was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole for murdering 2 people. While Keith Ferguson's courtroom behavior was sickening to watch, what happens when a convict flips off the judge? Like in the case of Penelope Soto, who was facing drug possession charges in Miami, Florida. In 2013, Soto was arrested after she crashed her bike on Southwest Street while high on Xanax. Police also found 26 Xanax bars in Soto's purse. The next day in court, Soto showed signs of being intoxicated as she giggled, touched her hair, and appeared to stagger.
I know I'm going to appoint you because you own a lot of substantial amounts of jewelry. You can go and sell your jewelry for it.
To determine her bail conditions, Soto was asked about her assets.
How much money are you making a week, approximately?
Approximately about $200 a week.
Okay, and do you own any property value? A house, a car, a bank account, significant amounts of jewelry?
Yes.
What do you own?
I own a lot of jewelry, all right. as well as
Go ahead.
the car.
Well, how much would you say your jewelry is worth? It's not a joke, you know. We're not in a club now.
Okay.
$1,000.
What is the stand-up bond?
It should be,
Ain't gonna be no PTS.
okay, 5,000 on count one, and then the rest should be ROR. Oh yeah, this thing's also requesting referral to Division 51 because she has no
Count
power.
1 would be 5,000 per hour cost found. Count 2 would be ROR. Bye-bye.
Adios.
However, Judge Rodriguez Chomant was not going to tolerate Soto's sassy attitude anymore.
Come back, ma'am. Come back. Come back. Give me the paper again. Count 1 would be 10,000.
Are you serious?
I am serious. Adios.
The judge called her back and doubled Soto's bond to $10,000. While leaving the stand in disgust, Soto cursed at the judge and showed him the finger. This time, Judge Rodriguez Chomant was done playing games.
Bring him back again.
What's up?
I believe I heard you saying to...
Yes, I did. I'm not going to the...
I believe you... Did you say...
Yes,
me?
actually, I
Did you say that?
Yes, sir, I did.
Oh, you did say that?
I'm not
I find you in
gonna lie.
direct criminal contempt. 30 days in the county jail.
Okay, that's fine. That's fine.
30 days in the county jail.
I believe that she is represented by the public defender. I don't know if there needs to be-
It's not being represented by the public defender.
Okay.
Soto was charged with contempt of court.
Saying pull the trigger, the killer's done. Love you.
Like in the case of TJ Lane, who's on trial for multiple murders in Ohio. Lane was 17 when he opened fire at his Chardon High School on February 27, 2012.
Hi, Chardon High School, we got shots fired, gunshots, multiple gunshots.
Chardon High School, any police up here with just someone in the building with a gun.
Gravely injuring several students. Authorities were flooded with panic-stricken 911 calls.
911, where's your emergency? We just had a shooting at our school. We need to get out of here. Oh, okay. Do you have any idea where the shooter is? He started in the cafeteria. He started in the cafeteria? Yeah, and he ran out. Okay, who was the shooter?
His name is Thomas Lane.
After Lane opened fire in the cafeteria, the school's assistant football coach, Frank Hall, chased him outside the premises. That's where the police found Lane when they arrived and arrested him. Tragically, 16-year-old Daniel Parmator died at the scene, while Russell King Jr., 17, and Demetrius Hewlin, 16, later succumbed to their injuries at the hospital. The shooting also left 17-year-old Nick Walczak permanently paralyzed. All of Lane's victims were his classmates. Lane was charged as an adult with 3 counts of murder. His friends said the teenager was often quiet and kept to himself.
He was just a person that, wanted to hide himself and keep all of his emotions in.
The kind of guy that, would sit by himself and just never bother anybody.
Reports also suggested that Lane had a deeply troubled home life. His father had previously served in prison on assault charges, while his mother often stayed away from home. Lane had initially pleaded not guilty on the grounds of insanity, claiming he often heard voices in his head. But eventually, the defendant was found competent to stand trial. So, to avoid the death penalty, Lane pleaded guilty to the murders.
You understand that you're pleading guilty. You want to plead guilty to the 3 aggravated murder charges with 3 firearm specifications.
Yes, Your Honor.
At his sentencing, Lane showed no signs of regret as the victim's family members addressed their children's killer.
That child stole my baby's life, and he should never be able to do this to anyone ever again.
I will have to eventually forgive you. Otherwise, you will haunt me. You will never, ever be in my thoughts after this. Never.
I want you to endure years and years of pain and abuse, which is, in my opinion, not harsh enough.
Lane's lack of remorse was more evident when he arrived for his sentencing, where he started executing his sinister plan by unbuttoning his shirt and revealing a white t-shirt with the word killer scribbled on it. Lane, who wore a similar t-shirt the day of the shooting, showed it off in the courtroom with a smug smile on his face. And if that wasn't enough, this is what the evil killer had to say to the victim's family members.
Saying pull the trigger, the killer's done. Love you.
Ultimately, Lane was sentenced to life in prison without any chance of parole for the murder of his classmates.
First, the defendant's conduct was without any provocation. Second, it was extreme. He was relentless in his shooting. He repeatedly fired his gun at these victims in sequence, moving into position to better the aim. He inflicted extreme injury, and he kept shooting.
While TJ Lane's sickening courtroom insults left everyone stunned, what happens when a defendant swings at an innocent bystander? Like in the case of David St. John, who is facing multiple charges, including aggravated assault in Houston, Texas. As per reports, St. John took a girl to a motel and assaulted her at gunpoint. At the time of the incident, St. John was already awaiting trial for 3 other crimes, including possession of the pistol he used during the alleged assault. In court, while the judge was seemingly distracted with another issue, St. John did something outrageous.
After you sign the order... Did you know you're arrested? Did you know you're arrested? Oh my God. Call someone.
He kept repeating, "Did you learn your lesson?" before punching a man in the face. Fortunately, St. John was quickly subdued by an officer. Even as he was being cuffed, St. John continued to offer advice.
I'm fine. What was that? No, you need to learn your lesson. You don't end up like me. You suck. Get up. You need to learn.
It was unclear why St. John attacked the man, but before leaving the courtroom, he had one final word of wisdom.
You have a panic button. I don't have one over here. I did that for your good, son. Don't end up like me.
Fortunately for St. John, the man did not press any charges. However, he pled guilty to his original charges and was sentenced to 2 25-year sentences. David St. John's crazy courtroom behavior certainly shocked everyone. But what happens when a judge gets hit by the F-bomb?
That's what one thing. No,
Like in the case of Akaya Smith, who's on trial for several offenses in Detroit, Michigan. According to reports, Smith went on assault spree in 2011 across 9 different communities, which lasted 6 years, with over 34 victims. The 32-year-old was finally caught when CCTV cameras captured him trying to break into a victim's home. Police also found a cigarette butt on one of the victim's beds, which had Smith's DNA on it. Smith was arrested and charged with multiple counts of first-degree assault and home invasion. At his trial, several of Smith's victims bravely came forward and testified.
He leaned down and he told me not to make any noise and not to do anything or he would hurt me.
His modus operandi was simple: climb in through an open window and attack his sleeping victims.
Mikey Smith got into her home through an open kitchen window and assaulted.
I rolled over in bed and I saw a flashlight in the doorway.
Smith even threatened to hurt his victims' children who slept next door.
I'll hurt her, I'll hurt you. He held a knife to my neck.
One of the victims had begged Smith to stop, as she was already a assault survivor.
Trying to make him see me as a person, to have sympathy for me.
Smith backed off, but not for long.
I still have a desire, I still want to do this. I want you to feel how excited I am, and he took my hand and made me touch him.
Eventually, Smith pleaded guilty to all charges mid-trial. At his sentencing, survivors delivered powerful victim impact statements.
I want him to go through the fear that all of us went through, being woken up in the middle of the night with a knife to our throats, and taken advantage of. And I hope that he gets that every night. That day has caused a lot of people in my life to leave. Mr. Smith made a choice to come into my home on November 24, 2014. He made a choice to forcefully violate me and set into motion a series of events that drastically altered my life, and not only mine, but those of the people who I love and who care for me.
Before declaring his fate, Judge Dalton Robertson condemned the defendant.
I don't think that the guidelines leave out enough punishment for him. I want him to have to face up to what he's done. He is a danger to the community. He's a danger to women. He just cannot resist. Your Honor. Well, it's okay with me. Good luck to you, buddy.
This is when things got crazy. As Judge Roberson refused to allow him to speak, Smith lashed out with the F-bomb.
Your Honor. Well, it's okay with me. Good luck to you, buddy.
Ultimately, Smith was sentenced to 55 to 80 years in prison. While Akaya Smith cussed at a judge in the courtroom, how does it compare to threatening to kill a witness? Like in the case of Jeremy Christian, who's on trial for murder and hate crime charges in Oregon.
Free speech or die, Portland. You got no safe place. This is America. Get out if you don't like free speech.
Reports suggest that on May 25th, 2017, Christian went on a hate-filled rant against Muslims, African Americans, and other groups on board the MAX train in Portland.
Like, we got a bus driver off you too.
When Demetria Hester, a black woman, protested, Christian followed her off the train and assaulted her. CCTV footage caught Christian throwing a bottle full of water at Hester, injuring her eye.
He throws the bottle to my eye.
Christian, who had been drinking and smoking marijuana all night, boarded the same train the next day when he suddenly broke out on a racial rant towards two young women. A bystander on the train captured the distressing scene on video. And if we rewind the footage right there, you'll actually see Christian smack an innocent bystander's phone to the ground for no reason. The situation quickly spiraled into chaos as passengers, including Micah Fletcher and Talisa Namkai Mechi, bravely confronted Christian to protect the targeted girls. Christian became increasingly aggressive and confrontational. The situation only escalated from here. Christian pulled out a folding knife and attacked Fletcher, Namkai Mechi, and Ricky Best. The attack resulted in the deaths of Best and Namkai Mechi, while Fletcher survived but sustained serious injuries. He fled the crime scene. Passengers of the train followed him, and he was arrested about a mile away. After the arrest, shocking footage emerged of Christian in the back of the patrol car.
Can I just stab in the neck for fun? Oh yeah, you're right, I do. I'm happy as a mother. Hopefully this died.
However shocking you thought Christian's case was up until now, wait till you see how he acted in court. During the trial, an emotional Walia Mohammed held back tears as she recounted the horrors she faced at the hands of the defendant.
He was saying, Muslims, saying go back to Saudi Arabia. They say, yourself.
Survivor Micah Fletcher also took the stand.
He responded by me in the throat. Say again? He responded by me in the throat.
Testifying how Christian him in the neck after being confronted. Eventually, the jury found Jeremy Christian guilty on all counts. At his sentencing, Demetria Hester had some choice words for Christian in her victim impact statement.
Jeremy Christian, your mom should have swallowed you. You are a waste of breath. And when you die and go to hell, I hope you rot.
See you there.
This is when he exploded.
Now, hey.
Go back to Tennessee too.
What do I tell you?
Go back to Tennessee too. We don't want you here. All your race bait and bullshit. You ain't gonna be married either. You ain't gonna be married either.
As he was being taken out of the courtroom, Christian threatened to kill the victim.
I should have killed you. I should have killed you. Everybody knows you're alive.
Ultimately, Christian was sentenced to 2 life terms without the possibility of parole.